Good evening, everyone. Happy Thursday. I'm Kathy Bosley.
And I'm Joe Bosley.
And we're certified health coaches with Optavia. And we're here to talk a little bit tonight about maintaining a healthy lifestyle. We have been in maintenance it'll be 4 years.
It'll be 4 years in April.
So we're going to talk about that. But first, we'd like to share our story, where we started. And I'll let you start because you were the one who kind of found the program. So let's tell everybody where we began.
Okay. I began about 45 pounds ago. And for probably 2013, 2014, I was looking for some kind of program to lose weight. My yearly physicals, my weight was creeping up, 215, 218, 220. And my doctor would nag me all the time, you need to lose a little bit of weight. You've got some very bad genetics. Your total cholesterol is not bad, but your good cholesterol is terrible. Your triglycerides are high, and you need to start doing something. And so I started looking, but I wasn't really in a hurry. I thought I looked like I was in decent shape. And then in January of 2015 was the anniversary of my dad's death. And when I turned 54, I had a conscious thought that I only had 9 years left to live because my dad dropped dead of a heart attack at age 63. And so I started looking a little more seriously. And as luck would have it, I suppose, I came across 3 of my former students on Facebook, all of whom were on program. And so I reached out to one of them, my coach, Leslie, and after just a short health assessment, and talking to my wife about finances, we decided, what the heck, we'll give this program an opportunity. I liked the program because it had a plan for after you lost the weight. As a high school wrestler, I never had trouble losing the weight, but I had a hard time keeping it off. I had lost weight using the Atkins diet and some of my own diets, but I really was looking for something long-term. And Leslie assured me that Take Shape for Life, which it's now Optavia, was the thing that I was looking for, and that she had had success, and I would too. And so in late January, I think it was January 29th of 2015, I started the program, and I'm a by-the-book kind of person on program. To the extent that on one of the daily calls, Leslie asked me how things were going. And I said, it's going fine. I just wish I could, drink coffee. I usually have coffee in the morning. And Leslie said, why can't you have coffee? And I said, because it doesn't say you can have coffee on program. And she said, well, what do you have? What's your first fueling of the day? And I said, I really like that cappuccino calorie burn. And she said, well, what do you mix it with? And I said, well, the package says to mix it with water. And so that's what I do, because that's what the rules are. And she said, well, you can mix it with coffee. And pretty much since that day in early February up until this morning, that's how I start every single day, is with coffee, with a cappuccino calorie burn shake. But other than that, I followed it to the T. I kept my lean and greens very simple. In fact, if Kathy hadn't gotten on about, 8 days?
No, I got on 11 days after you got on. I wasn't really convinced, and then I saw how well you were feeling, the energy that you had, and you had this book called The Habits of Health that I started to read, and I was reading The Habits of Health, and I said, this Dr. Wayne Scott Anderson, he's got this program, and he says it's a lifestyle, and he said, that's why I chose this program, because it was a lifestyle change. I needed the program more for nutrition. I actually had a heart attack 5 years ago, bad cardiac history in my family, diabetes, and we both saw this path that we were headed down. So that's when we decided to change the path of our health and found the program. Got on it. We stayed, on it true to plan. The 5-in-1 plan is what we did. We didn't modify it. We didn't do any hacks. There weren't any hacks back then like there are now. And drank our water, and the weight came off. And then after we reached our goal, actually, when you reached your goal, I really didn't have a goal to reach. I was just doing it whenever he was going to reach his goal. I did actually experience fat burn, which was kind of good for down the road. But you reached your goal weight.
Yeah, Leslie asked me what my goal weight was, and I really, I was thinking, I was about 225 pounds at the time, and I thought if I could just get under 200, that would be great. And she said, no, really, if you couldn't fail, what would you like to get to? And so just to get her off my back, I said, all right, 185 pounds. And I thought, if that ever happens, then I'll flap my wings and fly to school every day. And in 2 months, I hit my goal weight. I lost, I think I actually started, my official start weight was 218. So I lost 33 pounds, got down to 185, and then I transitioned off the program. And during the transition period, which for me at the time was only 4 weeks, I lost another 7 pounds and got down to 178 for a total of 40 pounds. This morning I weighed 177.5. And so I've maintained my weight loss since April of 2015 until this morning. And that's what we really want to talk about is the biggest part of the Optavia program is not the weight loss and it's not the transition, but it's the living life. It's making those transformations, lifelong transformations, one healthy habit at a time. And so we went through the weight loss portion and we went through the transition portion, and now what Kathy and I have been focusing on is adding these lifelong habits, one at a time.
And a little bit about transition. You reach your goal weight, and once you reach your goal weight, you're still continuing to stay close to your health coach. And then when you transition, that's when you start to add healthy foods back into your daily routine. So it's 8 weeks. When we did it, it was a little different, but now it's over 8 weeks. The first week you add back, the first thing is dairy, and the first thing is vegetables, extra serving of vegetables. And then that second week, you introduce it the first week, and the second week you kind of figure out where to put it in your day. And with each phase, you add something back into it's dairy, it's a vegetable, it's fruit, it's another serving of protein. And these things that you're adding in, you do it over 2 weeks. The first week you're introducing it. The second week you're kind of, figuring out where to put it into your day. And there is something called a T, a total energy expenditure, that you figure out how many calories you can have. And it's different for men and for women. And there's a formula that your coach has. It's actually in the Habits of Health book, and you can figure that out with your health coach. But during transition, that's a time that can be kind of scary for people. They don't, they're so used to being on the 5 and 1, and they feel so good being in that fat burn that they don't want, I have some people that are kind of hesitant and, worried, but that's when you really lean into the program with your coach and really, use them to help you get, through, because transition is different for everyone. Some people who are over 100-pound weight loss have to do it a little bit longer. So you can kind of customize even transition to how you want to do it too. So, and then there's maintenance. And that's the part that I think is the hardest part, because that's where you have to live it. But all of those habits that you've developed, like eating off of that 9-inch plate, we still do that. We still shop at the grocery store and we buy the healthy foods. We still prepare our meals the same way. We don't change the way we cook them. We don't go back to the old habits that we had. You had a problem with portion control. And now I still weigh everything. In maintenance, I am weighing all my protein every day. I am weighing my vegetables every day. I am counting my healthy fats. It becomes a part of you after a while. Those little micro habits that you're building while you're on the 5 and 1 plan or whatever plan you're on, you're going to continue to form those habits, and it just automatically becomes a part of your life. I don't have to think about.
And that's why it's so important after you're on program for a week or two to really get into Dr. A's Habits of Health and to read that and really begin to internalize that. That is really, in my opinion, that's the biggest key, the biggest difference between our program and all of those others is Dr. A's Habits of Health. That you read those habits of health, but then you begin to make them part of who you are, and you make this transformation during your transition, but you live it during maintenance.
True. And then there's always exercise. When you start to bring in, in transition, you're bringing in more calories, then you have to expend more. And that's where we made the decision, what are we going to do? We used to belong to Brick Bodies. We used to belong to Planet Fitness. And then we just decided, that was before we started the program, trying to exercise the weight off. Now we walk and we run. And that is something that, whatever it is for you, it could be swimming, it could be tennis, it could be walking, it could be hiking. You have to incorporate those healthy habits, and a habit of motion is a healthy habit. You've got to move more. You're bringing in more calories. And you start, just like you did with the 5 and 1, you start baby steps. Just like you develop those habits in the beginning, the habits of exercise are going to start at the beginning. We didn't go out and start walking 5-6 miles the first time we went out. We started at 2 miles and then increased a little bit more. And now when we go out, we kind of laugh, because if we don't get at least 5 miles in, we're like, oh my gosh, remember when we thought 2 miles was, a marathon?
And I think, I started my walking in 2016, and I set a goal. I wanted to walk or run 500 total miles for the year. And I had no idea, because I was never been a runner, but I lost all this weight. I kept it off, and it's a heck of a lot easier running when you're not carrying 40 extra pounds around. Yeah. And so that was my first goal. And somewhere around July, I was like, it's not a good goal, because I'm going to reach it really soon. And so in 2016, I made it to 816 miles for the year. And then in late December, I don't know why, I guess because I was posting my mileage on Facebook, we came across this thing on Facebook called Run the Year. And so in 2017, I partnered with a friend of mine, and we decided that it's called Run the Year, 2017 miles in 2017. And we knew that we couldn't do it separately, so we kind of partnered up, and we figured each of us could do 1,008.5 miles, and we would knock this out. And we more than knocked it out.
You did. I didn't.
Right. Well, my partner was one of my AP reader buddies, Mike Klapka. And Mike got about 1,300 miles in, and I got 1,607 miles in. And having someone that you're working with, not really competing with, but someone that can hold you accountable. And so this past year, I set a goal. Since I did 1607, I'm a history teacher, and that's the founding of Jamestown. I thought this year I'd do the founding of Plymouth, 1620.
All getting a history lesson.
But again, it was, it wasn't much of a goal, because I got to it too quickly, and I ended up doing 1,850 miles last year. Now, like Kathy said, when we started, 2.5 miles was about our limit. And then we thought, gee, if we could just get like a 5K, which is 3.1 miles, if we could just do a 5K, that would be fantastic. And now when we go out, just because we've built up, over the last 3 or 4 years, if we're not doing 4 or 5 miles, we really feel like, what was the point of going out?
Right.
And so on Monday, when the temperature was 9 degrees with a wind chill of minus 11, I had my gear on, and I went out and I got my 4.5 miles in. And it's just a habit. And we try to get it in every day. We miss occasionally. But it really has become a lifelong habit. And I don't run any faster. I don't run any more often than I used to. But I actually look forward to that time. I'd like to spend that time, that 4.5, 5 miles with my wife, but sometimes our schedules don't match up. So a lot of times, most mornings during the week, I'll get up at 4:15 and I'll be out on the road by 25 after 4 and usually get my 5 miles in by 5:30, 5:45. Kathy usually does hers more in the early afternoon. But it's really important, I think, to pick something to be in, and it's different. If you live somewhere where the weather's warmer, maybe you could hike outdoors. Some people swim. Even if you have the opportunity to play golf, where you can walk,
rather than take the cart.
or play tennis or whatever. You really need to add that habit of motion. And one of the things that Kathy and I are looking forward to doing next is adding some strength training. Because as we lost all this weight, I feel like I'm not as strong as I used to be, and so now we're adding in some light strength training. And just when we started our movement, we had to start, with 2 miles or 2.5 miles. We're starting off with small dumbbells,
right.
And just doing 10, 12, 15 reps of various exercises.
Right.
And we'll move up. We'll get a little bit more aggressive with that because we have some goals. We want to run in a 10K. We want to run that Bay Bridge 10K. And we would like to do a half marathon. But we're going to have to get...
you have to train for that.
We're going to have to get stronger, physically stronger. And
this is news
to keep
me.
Up. Yeah.
Going live.
So, but I think that the key for all of this is to really to set goals and to challenge yourself and to look outside that box. What am I capable of doing? And so I can't wait for the warmer weather because I can get off the road and we can go over to the reservoir and do some hiking, or we can go up to Catoctin and do some hiking. Because all of that is movement. And when we had an opportunity last month to be in Arizona, we're still talking about having hiked Camelback Mountain and what an experience that was for us, and how we overcame some of the fears that we had. Here we are a month and a half later, smiling, and
right.
and
okay.
it was a really fun opportunity.
Yeah, and you really in maintenance. You have to set goals for yourself. It's the only way you're going to grow. There's a lot of personal growth with this program. It's not just a physical growth, but there is personal growth as well. And, we just continue doing what we did on the 5 and 1 and transition and in maintenance and added exercise to it. We still, eat the same way. We still drink our water. We eat 6 times a day. And, things are just... We just challenge you. You have to challenge yourself. It's only going to make you better. And as Dr. A would say, you just progress. It's a good thing, and it's going to keep you healthy. And that's what we're looking for. We just want to be healthy and be on this earth as long as we can. So I hope that this was valuable to you, and I hope that you all have a wonderful evening and stay warm and
get out there and move.
Get out there and move. It's a part of the program. Have a great night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.